What is better than a low-carb Italian favorite? Not much. Today I'm going to show you how to make eggplant rollatini, cat heart style, little piece of heart. I'm going to slice up some eggplant, and then we're going to make a filling with ricotta cheese and my secret ingredient that is going to spice it up, some spicy Italian sausage. First off, I have to prep my eggplant. Now, when we're cooking an eggplant like this, we can't just cut it and roll it. It'll break in half. So we have to bake it first. I have my oven preheated at 375 degrees, and I have a 1-pound eggplant right here. And what I'm looking for, this is a serving for 2 to 3 people, so we're looking for 8 good slices of eggplant that I can put on my baking tray, and we can bake just to get some of the moisture out and to make it really pliable so we can roll it up with our filling. The first step would be to take our eggplant and cut the end right off, and this will help us guide us on the mandolin as well. Now the eggplant is going to be cut into a 1/4-inch slice. I feel like this is the best slice. It's not too thick, not too thin, and I am going to leave the skin on. Now I know some people might be skeptical about leaving the skin on. My sister's one of them. But when she ate this, she barely even noticed it was there. It literally melts in your mouth. It does not become stringy. It's actually really good, so give it a try. If you don't like the skin, definitely peel it at this stage, but I'm going to leave the skin on. So we have our mandolin here. If you don't have a mandolin, that's fine. Just cut it into, thin slices about a 1/4 of an inch thick. And don't be scared to use a measuring tape. I do it all the time, even when I'm cooking other people's recipes. I like to know exactly how thick or thin to cut something. So now the first slice is going to be all skin, so we're going to discard that one. So we're going to go right down the mandolin. Okay, see? First slice, clean cut, and we're going to discard it only because it's all skin. And it's going to be a little bit smaller than the other pieces. So let's see. Okay, and as we cut them, look at that. It's perfect. This is the perfect slice. So it's a good thing we cut off the skin because now we have a good piece. Now, we're going to lay them on a sill pad just like this. If you don't have a sill pad, you should buy one. I use this every day. It's like $20. You can get them on Amazon. It's so worth it because you don't have to spray it with anything. Your tray doesn't get a mess. I mean, I use it so much. For this, if you don't have one, just use some tin foil, and I like my cooking spray because I don't like things to stick, so I would spray a little bit of cooking spray, use some tin foil, and you're good to go. So I'm going to make 7 more slices of this, and here we go. So we have our 8 slices of eggplant ready to go. I'm going to pop this into a 375 degree oven for 10 minutes. And like I said, the reason we're doing that is to make sure that the eggplant gets pliable so we can roll it. If I do it right now, it'll snap in half. And also, it releases some of the moisture from the eggplant. And by doing that, it makes it so our eggplant rollatini dish is not soggy or extra wet and watering down the sauce, because we definitely don't want that. In the meantime, while the eggplant cooks, we're going to brown some sausage for my filling. So meet me over by the stove. First step to making our filling is some Italian sausage. I have about a teaspoon of oil in here just so that the sausage has something to cook around with. And I'm going to take the sausage, about a half of a pound, and put it right in. Like I always say, we have a sizzle, which is exactly what we want. We want this to start cooking immediately as soon as it hits the pan. So mine were actually patties. That's what my grocery store does. If you can only find it with the casings, just remove the casings, and then you can just saute it just like it's regular ground sausage. We're going to saute the ground sausage just until it's cooked all the way through. And we want to cook it all the way through, and then we want to cool it down a little bit before we add it to our second part of our filling, which is the ricotta cheese, Parmesan cheese, mozzarella cheese. So we're going to assemble that next. And then we're waiting also for our eggplant to come out of the oven so we can start our roll. Now we're going to start to assemble our filling. But really quick, I left the oven on at 375. I took out the eggplant because it was in there for 10 minutes. So now that's on the stove cooling. And I also finished browning my sausage, and I drained off any excess oil so it's not going to give us a greasy rollatini. We want both of those things to cool down because we don't want to add really hot things to a cheese mixture, and we don't want to roll up hot eggplant. That'll hurt your fingers. So we're going to start doing our filling right now. Now, I want to add some cheese to the cheese. So we got 3 kinds of cheese going on here. We have ricotta cheese. I use whole milk ricotta. And the next thing that we're gonna add is some Parmesan cheese. Now you can use any kind. I'm using the really, really powdery kind today. I'm gonna put that right in. Next cheese is some whole milk mozzarella cheese. Now they sell, pizza mixes, they sell Italian cheese blends. Go crazy, do whatever kind of cheese you like. I just like plain mozzarella cheese. Keeping it simple. I'm gonna add half of this, but then the other half I'm gonna actually save to top the rollatini with right before we bake it. On to the spices. So I'm gonna use, some normal spices like salt and pepper, and then some other Italian favorites. Put our salt and pepper. Great. Next, Italian seasoning. We got to put this in because this is going to give us that basil, the oregano, the parsley. It's going to give us all those warm flavors that we know and love in Italian food. Okay. And then, of course, garlic powder. I rarely cook without it, if you've seen any of my other videos, unless I'm like making a dessert. Even in breakfast, there's going to be garlic. All right. Perfect. There we go. Last spice is going to be some onion powder. Garlic, onion, they go together. Perfect. Okay, so now, before I add my sausage in, I'm actually going to just give this a mix. And before I add a beaten egg, I'm going to taste it because I don't want to eat raw egg. And the egg's not really going to give it much flavor, but the egg is going to kind of help keep the mixture together so that it doesn't get too runny while it's in the oven. So this is looking great. You can see the Italian seasoning and the pepper running through all of the cheeses. Everything is melding together perfectly. All right, so what I'm going to do is just grab my tasting spoon just a little bit. I just want to make sure that all the spices are good. Perfect filling right here. Perfect amount of spices and salt and pepper. That is key to this because if you don't have enough salt, enough seasoning, you're not going to have a good filling. And then the sauce might carry you, but the filling is where it's at. You want it to be nice and gooey. This is perfect. All right, cheese off of my lip gloss. So now, since we know we like this, we're going to add in our egg now. So I'm going to add in 1 beaten egg. And I'm going to mix it one more time, just to get that all incorporated. See why we didn't want to taste it after we did this? I actually had to do it the other day. It was kind of gross. I just pretended it was brownie batter, which I have no problem eating with raw egg in it, but those days are over. It's low carb now. All right. Perfect. See? It just mixes right in. So now I'm actually going to go and grab the sausage. And we're going to fold that right into our cheese mixture. Now remember, this is half a pound of sauteed, browned, hot Italian sausage. If you don't like to use hot sausage, if you're cooking for kids, it's fine. Just go ahead and use mild. It's whatever you like. That's what's great about a majority of my recipes. It's literally whatever you have on hand and whatever your flavor preference is. Yummy. Oh, the minute the sausage hits the cheese, all those spices latch onto the sausage and it literally smells amazing. And it hasn't even hit the oven yet. All right, great. So this is the mixture we're working with now. Ricotta cheese, mozzarella cheese, Parmesan cheese, a bunch of spices, and some sausage. So what I'm gonna do next is run my spatula so that it flattens out the top surface of my mixture. And since we have 8 eggplants, I want to make sure that each eggplant kind of gets the same amount. So I'm just going to score it, just eyeballing it, so that I make 8 amounts. This will help me in a second when I am going to be assembling the eggplant rollatini, because then each one will kind of get the same amount. If you just start scooping, sometimes you end up with a gigantic blob at the end and one that's too skinny, and then sometimes you end up with not enough for your very last eggplant. So this actually is a really helpful tip. Helps me every time. Sometimes I forget to do it and I wish I did it. So that's what we're going to do for that right now. I'm going to clean up a little bit and then I'm going to start assembling our eggplant rollatini. I'll meet you right back here. What we want to do is take our, it's about an 8x8, just a square pan. This should fit 4 and 4 on each side, 2 rows of 4. And we want to take some sauce. The sauce I'm using today is a Fra Diavolo sauce that I actually bought at the store. You could use any kind of sauce you like or any kind that you make. It's totally up to you. This is the cool part. Like I said, Do whatever you want or have. I like to actually go to the supermarket and buy a local brand of sauce, which this one is. So it's nice and fresh, and it actually tastes homemade. So I mean, if you can buy a jar of sauce for less than $10 and you don't have to, you know, cook gravy all day, like, why not? Especially during a busy weeknight. This is the perfect meal because it comes together pretty quickly. So I put in enough sauce just to cover the bottom of the pan here because we want our eggplant to sit in something. Now I'm going to assemble the eggplant rollatini. As you can see, my eggplant dried out a little bit, but they didn't shrink in size, but look at that. They're totally pliable. Look at that. They're not breaking, nothing. So this is perfect. This is exactly what we want, and that's why the thickness and the time in the oven are perfect. I'm going to put the skinnier end right there. Now remember, I scored my filling, so I know exactly how much to take for each eggplant slice. What I like to do is put the filling right in the middle. Not in the middle, in the middle of the eggplant off to one side. And then you're going to spread it out. So you're going to want to spread your filling and leave about an inch border right at the end. And I'll show you why right now. Because we're going to take our eggplant and start and just do a simple roll, loose roll. But as you can see, the filling is pushing itself towards the end. So you want to go like that. Perfect roll right there. Gorgeous, isn't it? It even looks cute. So we're going to assemble 8 of these, 4 on this side, 4 on that side, and here we go. All of our eggplant are rolled and ready to go. So what I like to do is before I do any cheese, I like to do a little bit of sauce just on top of each one. Why? I don't know. I just feel like it keeps everything kind of moist and it lets that cheese stick to something so it doesn't just fall down into the dish. The rest of the sauce that I have in this bowl, I'm actually going to warm up on the stove just in case anybody, you know, wants to put some on top. I like a lot of sauce. Jay likes a lot of sauce, so I like to have some extra warmed up on the stove just to use as gravy at the end when you're ready to serve. So here I have the rest of my mozzarella cheese, whole milk. We're going to just go ahead and top each piece with a generous amount of cheese. Now this is where you can use as much cheese or as least cheese, whatever you want to call it, as, you know, as much as you want, because some people like a lot of cheese, some people don't. They want to kind of keep the calories a little lower, so definitely, you know, go a little lighter on the cheese since it's cheese filling. I add about half a cup in the filling, and this is the other half of the cup. So just 1 cup in the whole dish, and this will feed about, you know, 3 or 4 people depending on how many each person gets. And we're just going to go on with the rest. And the best part is just like my meatball parmesan recipe, when you put the cheese like this and then there's sauce on the bottom, the cheese on the bottom will get all gooey in the sauce, and it just creates this amazing meal, this great, great meal. So what I'm going to do is stick this in a 375-degree oven. I never turned it off from before, and it's going to be in there for about 25 minutes. Now at that point, what I like to do, because I like it when the cheese gets brown and bubbly on top, I'm going to put it under the broiler for about 2 minutes, but watch it carefully because your broiler might be stronger than mine. And then after that, I'm going to take it out and I'm going to let it sit for 5 minutes. Because just like lasagna, you don't want to, you know, with noodles and everything, you don't want to cut right into it as soon as it's out of the oven. Not only is it going to be extremely hot, but it's going to kind of be breaking apart and watery. You want to give it a couple minutes just to sit on the stove just so that it cools down a little bit and it keeps all the flavor in and the cheese doesn't get all gooey. So I'm going to pop this in the oven and I will see you back here sooner than later because I can't wait to try this. How amazing does this look? I can't even take it. Can you believe this is a low-carb dinner and we're eating Italian food? It's like, you're not even going to miss the pasta. That's the best part about this. I'm actually going to plate myself up a piece because I want to try this and I want to tell you exactly how great it is. So let's see. I want to pick this one right here. Look at that. See how the sauce is not watery? Look at that. It's not watery at all. That's because we baked our eggplant first. And the filling doesn't ooze out. Look how great it stays together. That's what that egg did. It binded everything together perfectly. Now, I was warming sauce on the stove, but you could easily get enough sauce on the bottom here. It just depends how much you have. If you had a Caesar salad or a side salad with this, this is a complete dinner. So it's great, and it's easy for a weeknight meal too, especially if you use jarred tomato sauce. I'm gonna cut right in the middle, and because we let it sit, it's staying together. That's a huge piece. I'm not gonna eat that in one bite, so I'm gonna cut it in half. Let's get that all together. Oh, the perfect bite right here. Mozzarella, gooey mozzarella included. Still pretty hot. Winner, winner right here. Wow. And you know what? Because I used Fra Diavolo sauce and I used spicy Italian sausage, getting a little bit of heat right back here right now. It is phenomenal. This is great. It's good to entertain with. Double this recipe, triple it, make a whole tray. If you don't want to do low carb, stuff it into some pasta shells, the big jumbo shells. I did that for my sister the other week because she just had a baby. So I did that for her as a dinner that she could have. She's not low carb, she wanted the shells, so that's what she got. So it's such a versatile dish. This filling can go in a bunch of different things. Use it in lasagna. It's great. For this recipe, as well as many others, go to my blog, Little Piece of Heart, and I will see you next time for another episode in my kitchen.